Hello and welcome! Tonight on the show, we are going to the Emerald Isle with Lyle's Squeezy Syrup Dessert Golden Syrup. Top of the morning to you. Easy, squeezy, 1, 2, 3-zy. We're really glad to have you. This is Soft Spoken.
And we're back. We are Soft Spoken. We are the podcast detailing your favorite dips, sauces, and condiments. And tonight, we are going to be the golden cough syrup to soothe your aching ear holes. I'll be your host this week. My name's Adam, and I'm joined here by my co-host, Tori.
Hello. Thank you for joining us. Yes, my name is Tori. We're going to be looking at, an Irish sauce this evening. But to my right, as always, it's not easy being cheesy or this squeezy. Our boy, Easy E.
Well, that might be the most perfect segue into my most best handoff I've heard yet. I like that.
I'm working on it.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, happy belated St. Paddy's Day here with our Irish sauce.
Yeah, we're as we've mentioned before, we record these episodes a little bit in advance. So yesterday was St. Paddy's Day, which brings us to another important national holiday because today, as we record this, is Tori's birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday!
Yay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a very cool birthday thus far. I had to work. Well, that's a bummer, but yeah.
In your Alcoa shirt and your sweats.
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah.
Pretty chillax.
Tough day at work, yeah, I guess. Yeah, got some bird feeders for my birthday presents, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you went over to your parents for your lunch, and you had a little. They gave you a little snack, some lunch, and a little cake, and some bird feeders.
I'm glad you brought that up because today is also a landmark day. I tried Spam for the first time this afternoon.
Really?
Yeah,
first time.
The first time ever. Yeah.
See, I would have thought that would be a Pittsburgh thing through and through. Some Spam. I mean, I guess that's more of a Hawaiian thing.
It is definitely a Hawaiian thing, but.
Yeah.
It wasn't originally Hawaiian. That was just where the troops were stationed. I think they had it in their rations, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you are correct.
That got adopted by the culture out there.
Yeah, I gave it a spin for the first time today with some eggs and toast, and it was delicious. It was very good.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was going to ask you what you thought about it.
I liked it. I think you could indiscriminately replace it for bacon in any application you can think of.
That's going
going too far.
Now, well, this is interesting because did you have the bacon Spam or did you just have regular Spam?
Low salt.
Oh, okay, because there is one that is like...
for what it's worth.
That's interesting. Well, I think normally Spam is quite high in salt.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's less salt than the salt flats, I suppose, but...
Yeah, they do have there's a couple different types, and one of them is actually a bacon Spam, which is supposed to be more, bacon flavored, I guess.
Wow.
When I was down in Hawaii, I had some of the local Spam fried rice. It was very good.
Oh, yeah. I've actually had a number of pretty decent Spam dishes, because when I was in Boy Scouts, one of the challenges we had for one of our, we had what they called a Cadillac camp, which was a winter camping trip, but it was indoors in a cabin. And one of the events we did there was a spam cook-off. You had to come up with a recipe and cook Spam with whatever ingredients you could find there into some sort of dish.
I bet you destroyed that.
Yeah, really.
Well, I wasn't as much of a cook back then. This was, I was probably in I don't know, I was maybe, I don't know how old you are in Boy Scouts, 13 or so. So I wasn't really into cooking as much then, and I definitely didn't have the skills I did now. So I think we ended up making a Spam pizza, and I think it was edible.
Okay.
Kind of towards Tori's comment about how it can be replaceable for bacon. You will often put bacon on a pizza, but I don't know. I feel like there's a certain wonderful crisp texture you get out of bacon that you'll never get out of Spam.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I'm not saying, I'm going to move to Spam.
No.
You know what I mean. I'm not saying nothing like that. But if you're in a position where you only have Spam, a tomato, lettuce, maybe some mayonnaise, some good Italian bread, I would make a BLT with Spam in a heartbeat, an SLT.
Well, I think part of the key there is you fry it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's how I had it. It was fried, crispy, dark around the edges.
That helps.
Right.
Thinly sliced.
Helps dramatically. I know that's one of the key things is that a lot of people because it has a bad reputation, I would say.
Sure, yeah.
And I think most people that try it straight out of the can without any kind of processing, cooking or anything like that. And that is not the right way to eat it.
Oh,
well,
Cold out of the can.
but to your earlier comment, that is exactly how those rations were meant to be eaten.
Oh, yes. No, they're just fully cooked. I mean, it is edible that way.
Absolutely.
And it is,
It'll
your
last 1,000
protein and
years.
stuff.
Yeah.
And calories. But yeah, it's not good. So,
a funny story about that. My coworker, my coworker's father, my coworker is like 66. So his father, I guess he must have served in maybe, I don't know, would that be World War II time, I guess, I suppose?
Sure. Vietnam, maybe.
Or
Yeah.
Vietnam.
A little closer.
Korean War.
Yeah, Korean War, something like that. Anyways, it was some war, but no, he specifically said how he was overseas in Europe, and they served canned mutton to their troops.
Wow.
And
European troops.
yes,
Like Eastern European. I think that's pretty common in that area.
sure. Anyways, he just says he would never, entertain the idea of having lamb for Easter, or, lamb, just the sight of lamb would just make him want to throw up. He was done for lamb for the rest of his life.
Huh.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I may have mentioned before on the podcast, the first time I ever had tuna as a kid, I loved it, and I ate so much tuna that I was horribly sick. I mean, I'm puking my guts out, and because I ate like 3 cans of tuna as a 5-year-old or something.
Wow.
And I didn't eat it again for another solid, 10, 15 years or something like that after that.
He'll snap you out.
And now I love it again.
Nice. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either.
Yeah, probably the amount of mercury I had some effect on my brain, if I had to guess.
There you
probably
go.
part of the responsibility for the way my life has turned out. So as you guys have probably guessed, a little bit of an April Fool's surprise for you. This isn't actually our last episode. Sneaky, haha. We didn't have anything better lined up, so we decided to pull a little bit of a sneaky on you guys.
Just with our title there, huh?
Yeah,
It was kind of fun.
just a little lead off, just a little something to strike panic into our ones of listeners who follow us on a regular basis.
I thought when you said we don't have anything else better lined up, I thought you were implying that we're going to just keep doing this because we have nothing else better
Well,
lined
that is also true. I mean,
Okay.
you hit the nail on the head.
Just wanted to verify.
I mean, what else we got going on Thursday nights? Eric will always come up with an excuse if you let him, but I think in reality, none of us have anything better going on. So.
No.
Always. Last night I finished Legend of Korra. If I wasn't doing this, I'd be starting in on the Goblin or the Dragon Prince or something like that.
What the
The
heck is
Dragon Prince.
Yeah.
You like dragons?
Me and my cartoons,
that? Okay.
So you're a big Avatar fan?
I am now. I think that was the
okay.
best. I've never seen it before.
Oh, okay.
So that was the best show I think Nickelodeon has possibly ever made, but I really do like Temple of Doom too, and the contestants race through. I'm pretty sure that was a Nickelodeon.
I don't know what you're referencing.
Legends of the Hidden Temple, I believe.
Oh, Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah, Temple of Doom was an Indiana Jones film.
Yeah, you're right. Legends
Yeah.
of the Temple. It's been a long time since I've watched
Several years.
my Nickelodeon.
It was a game show, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So that was a good one.
That was.
But for the most part, Nickelodeon kind of sucked, I thought. So.
Yeah. My man E. I didn't know you were a blue barracuda. Remember those? The team names? The Silver Monkeys?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I do.
You see? Yeah, it's all flooding back to you now.
I wasn't allowed to have the fancy TV as a kid. We were only allowed to have the basic TV, so.
Not to mention we're talking about shows that you probably weren't even born yet.
Well, you guys aren't that much older than
Yeah,
me.
right. Oh, that's
A little bit older. Not older enough, probably. Sadly. Yeah, you were born. You were 5. Do you remember a lot of memories of watching TV when you were 5?
No, I told you I didn't have the fancy TV when I was 5. Although maybe at the Babysitters I may have seen a little bit. I remember watching Blue's Clues over at the Babysitters.
Shit, Blue's Clues came out. I was like in late middle school.
Yeah.
And you were probably in early high school. Yeah.
Cool.
Anyways,
cool guy.
Cool. So I don't know if you guys have any like birthday traditions. I know Tori, you mentioned you're probably going to take the day off work tomorrow, which is a strategy I always like to take. And I don't know if you had anything else that you normally like to do. I know that your birthday dinner tonight was less than auspicious.
It was, yeah, that was an experience. That was
Yeah.
something. Thank you, by the way. I don't believe I thanked you yet.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. We had a bit of an interesting adventure too. As we had mentioned before, there's a Burger King right down the road from Eric's house that I believe that was where we got some of the barbecue zesty sauce from when we tried that. Wasn't that where that came from, Eric?
the ones that were actually in date versus the ones that came out of your
Yes.
backpack that were
Correct.
like a totally different label from some unknown year.
Correct.
That was wild. Yeah, different.
Okay.
And I don't think they really had a date on. They had like a copyright date.
They
but-
didn't. Yeah.
But we're not.
No, we stopped over there for dinner for you there, Tori, this week, and we had a little bit of a dilemma because we got there and they said that their cash register, their credit card machine had been down for 4 days, he said.
4 days is an awful long time for a fast food joint not to take a credit card.
Yeah, which I thought was a little strange because you would think the franchise owner would be realizing how many customers they're turning away, which I had a little bit of a theory about, but we did manage to end up scrounging some cash because you didn't have any cash in your wallet and I had left my wallet at home, so we managed to scrounge some cash out of my vehicle and paid for it that way.
And we just got our stimulus checks and we're scrounging.
Yeah, we got our stimmies and we're still scrounging. Did you guys do the stimmy dance?
No.
I did the stimmy dance. I made my girlfriend do the stimmy dance too. She didn't really like it. The stimmy dance is not a thing. I'm just saying you have to do a stimmy dance. We got to get a demonstration.
Okay.
No, I feel like you need to do a stimmy dance. I've done the stimmy dance, I think, every stimmy we've gotten.
Nice.
I only call them stimmies too.
I rolled my eyes and then I decided to back another Kickstarter.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, wow.
You have a problem.
I know.
We gave you we didn't do this on the air, but we gave a really inspirational speech last week to kind of help you kickstart your life a little bit. And what you took out of that, as you said this week, was to drink more alcohol. That was what you said you took out of that. You're currently finishing off a rum and coke on a Thursday night. Going into work.
I can't even argue it. That's 100% true.
What time do you have to work tomorrow?
6 a.m. as always.
Ooh.
No, I actually had a really freaky event happen to me yesterday at work. It was a little sobering. Of course, I came home and I drank anyways yesterday.
Okay.
As well. But
all right.
I couldn't clock out of work because I had forgotten my employee number, which I use every day, twice a day. How in the world did I forget this number?
No, I've definitely had that happen to me on a number of occasions. The worst one where it happens to me are the dial, the combination locks for a locker.
Sure.
Those I have forgotten on a number of occasions because it's all just muscle memory. You don't even really see the numbers. It's just twisting it to a certain position.
The pattern.
Yeah. And I think it's the same way with the numbers.
It's probably the last time I had that, like that soundly completely loss of I had no clue and exactly I felt the same way. I'm like, okay, I know it's muscle memory. I'm trying to think about it. I'm like, I know it's 4 digits. I know it has 2 1s in it. So I just started putting in like 15, 16, 17, 18. I was like, I'm just guessing, trying to clock out of work. I'm like, I eventually just called the operations manager. I'm like, I cannot remember my number.
Wow. Did he send you for a drug test?
He didn't, but he thought it was pretty strange. He asked me if I was, we also recently had, not making light of the situation at all in any way, not intending to. We had an employee who had
spit it out.
What seems like a stroke. He didn't know how he got to work.
Oh, wow.
He was stumbling around the shop, very confused. It was not good, to say the least. So for me to have a very bad lapse of numbers, and I know I've said it before on here, I work as a design drafter. I work with numbers all day, every day, a lot of numbers, and that's kind of what my boss was like. You got a million numbers running around in your head. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't stress over it. It was just so weird that I was so lost. I couldn't think of it to save my life. I kept trying to my muscle memories was just failing me. I couldn't just type it in, close my eyes. I spent literally 5 minutes just racking my brain how in the world do I not know?
People were probably calling an ambulance watching you.
Yeah, I mean they were legitimately concerned. They were like,
"Have you had your air in there tested for carbon monoxide recently? It might be something worth looking into."
Not on my job. Our work.
There's probably all kinds of carbon monoxides. They probably got carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, carbon trioxide. They got all the oxides
Everyone's
going
coming
on.
To the party.
It's a special place I work at, so there's no doubt.
You got fumes out the wazoo there. No, I've definitely had that exact same thing happen to me before, especially in high school with the lockers and the combinations on those. But the weird part is I have actually, I think, a pretty good memory for things like that and numbers and dates. And so the weird thing is I'll have dreams and I'll remember the locker combination to my high school locker in my dream. But if you actually put me in front of it, I wouldn't be able to do it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things because you lose the muscle memory.
Yeah.
And on your similar notion to the stroke comment, one time, I think we had mentioned this before, but we all used to work at Home Depot at one point in our lives. One time I was taking a break in Home Depot, and one of the common symptoms of if you're having a stroke, they say if you smell toast.
Yeah.
That is a classic symptom. I remember one time we were all in the break room, and I started smelling toast. And no one else was reacting to that. And I actually got up, I went over and checked the toasters. There was nothing in the toasters. And I checked the microwaves. No one had anything in the microwaves, but the smell was getting stronger and stronger, and no one was reacting. So I was beginning to get extremely concerned, even though I wasn't really in the demographic, age and demographic to have a stroke at that time. And I finally just stood up and I said, "Does anyone else smell toast in here?" And as it turns out, someone had taken a toaster off and plugged it in like behind a vending machine for whatever reason and was using it back there. And I was like, "Oh, thank Christ."
You would have gave yourself a stroke if you didn't already have one.
Well, I think it was a bagel or something like that, but still, the point stands. And then the more strange point was, why the fuck did you move the toaster off of there? Like, it clearly fire hazard, but...
Yeah, really. Oh, well, that's because we all worked actually at the same Home Depot. And those outlets were notorious at that time. We're notorious for like going out on the fritz. Remember those outlets were.
I never used them, so I trust you. But...
Oh yeah, that was a chronic problem.
Oh, we're going to bleep that. You're not supposed to give that out. Well, that was the one that we used to work at, so we'll bleep that. Who's going to
know what number it is? Well, I guess I can look it up online.
Easily, yeah. I would always go next door to the shopping center and get a box of corn dogs, frozen corn dogs.
Stick them in the toaster?
Oh, yeah.
Behind the vending machine.
Squeezed mustard, that would be my lunch. I would buy a box.
Did you actually put them in the toaster?
They had a toaster oven, right?
Yeah,
or a microwave.
They had toaster ovens.
It was something that, yeah.
My current Home Depot does not have a toaster oven.
Really?
I don't think
Probably for that exact reason, so people aren't starting fires in there.
Yeah, kind of sad.
Stroke concerns.
You have to bring one in. Bring your microwave in there. It's not getting used here, that's for damn sure.
Try not to.
Well, speaking of toasters, we actually incorporated the use of a toaster into our sauce tasting tonight.
Wow, well done.
We went a little bit off the beaten path. We're out of chicken nuggets.
So the next best thing...
Partially my failing, but I'll blame it on E. Piece of shit.
Chicken nuggets can go on these, though.
Yeah, that's true. We did discuss that. But no, we actually used... for tasting tonight, we utilized, for the first time, making an appearance, ice cream, as well as what we toasted, waffles.
Vanilla ice cream.
Yes, well, that wasn't really... Okay, yes, vanilla ice cream.
That's probably important to mention.
What flavor waffles were they we tried on, too? Eggo plain waffles we tried them on.
Classic buttermilk.
Classic buttermilk waffles, so we're being perfectly clear.
Frozen
variety. I did not bust out the waffle iron that I don't own.
And these aren't the usual tasting samplers that we normally try, and that's because we tried a little bit of a different sauce this time. And you actually were nice enough to obtain this for us, Eric. Would you like to lead us off with what we're going to be trying tonight?
I happened to be down in Oakland with a friend of mine, and she said, "Hey, we got to check out this Irish shop that's just around the corner from where we're having breakfast."
Well, it was with Colleen. We had her on episode 10. You can say her. So.
That's right. We did have her on the episode.
Right,
so
our friend Colleen on. She actually she helped you pick this out.
She did. We went and had crepes down in Oakland, Pittsburgh, little college town. It was pretty fun. Crepes were delicious.
Yeah, how was your trip to California?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, they had this little Irish shop with everything Irish themed music, wear, and food. So I saw this Lyle's Squeezy Syrup dessert golden syrup sauce, I guess.
Golden syrup sauce.
There's a lot of syrups there.
Yeah, this is definitely a little bit unusual, and I don't know if this was intentional on your part, but we have mentioned before, we're not sure if we only like sauces that are sweet and made of sugar, or because we'd previously given our best rating thus far to the Olive Tap chocolate sauce that you had also gotten for us, Eric. And this is our second dessert sauce, and so we had made some comments in previous episodes about whether or not we simply rated that sauce so highly because it was sugar, and we have very simple palates here, and that's kind of we pretend to be, nuanced people and have all these, delicate opinions on things when really we just like sugar. So
that's what I'm afraid of.
Simple beasts, yeah.
So this was part of this. This will be putting it to the test whether we really do just like sugar or if we are capable of tasting some sort of nuance in sauces. So with that being said, and this is a little bit off the wall appearance-wise, do you want to go ahead and give us a little bit of a breakdown on the externals of the bottle that we're looking at here, Tori?
Oh, sure. So we have a squeeze bottle here in front of us. It's 325 grams for those that like the metric system. I certainly don't. It's about half green, and there's certainly an Irish looking. Oh, hell, I don't know how I would even describe this. Maybe branches, really curly branches, gold and yellow, separated by this really green, maybe a forest green. And we have Lyle's squeezy syrup, dessert golden syrup. So they do get a little syrupy on there. But yeah, so the bottle has a bit of a curvaceousness to it. Would you agree?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, the bottle's got figure.
Yeah, it certainly does. And it's in a squeeze bottle, which of course we love the convenience.
You bought it because you were aroused by it. Is that correct, Eric?
That is not correct at all.
I wanted to point out, do you guys remember I think it was early 2000s, maybe late 90s, Hercules movie that came out?
Yes.
And that's what actually the golden swirls on the bottom remind me of, and kind of the curvaceousness of the bottle reminds me of the Hercules aesthetic they had going on.
Yeah, the curly cues at the bottom, it's certainly ornate. I don't know, maybe Celtic. It has a sort of a Celtic flair to it, maybe.
Sort of. It's definitely not like a Celtic knot or
no,
kind of
yeah,
no,
like,
it's
not
swirlies.
overkill like
it's like
that.
curly cues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a very, I'd say, very gold, like artificial paint gold look to the cap.
Like actual gold appearance, right?
Yeah. And the whole Lyle's squeeze syrup is in a golden arch, and it's over top of it actually says Abram, Lyle and Sons, Sugar Refiners.
Huh.
There's a golden...
Also famously makers of the tank, the M1 Abrams.
Yeah.
That's right. Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to hard stance that one.
Yeah.
I think it's probably right.
That sounds right.
And there's a lion in a circle with this Abram, Lyle and Sons Sugar Refiners around the lion underneath this golden arch. So yeah, it's kind of striking. I saw it at the shop and I just couldn't pass it up. I thought, this sounds intriguing.
I am curious what drew your eyes to this specifically over the other sauces.
The curviness.
The curviness. He was aroused by the curves. He said, "Wow, that bottle's got curves." And the girl that you were with,
there actually wasn't
left
any other sauces. Actually, there was lots of candles and other like crackers and foods that were imported. But there was no sauce.
What shop? What type of shop was this that you were in?
It was just specifically Irish imports.
It was just sound like you're trying to call a kitty cat. That'll come across well, our ASMR. To our listeners, we'll get real close to the mics.
There you go.
Talk real throaty.
Plenty.
But no, and the other thing, did we mention this is like a British sauce of some sort? United Kingdom, something like that.
It's pointed by the Queen on the back there. It has that seal.
Yeah, it's also got that kind of like Irishy aesthetic, and I don't know, we're probably getting some trouble there because there was, I know, at some point in history there was a wee bit of a conflict between the principalities in that region.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think those two guys care for each other too much.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Still a conflict, I'm
forgive
pretty
us.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgive us if we're doing you guys any kind of a disservice. We're just consider us to be
stupid Americans.
Yeah, we are Yankees. Yeah,
ignorant but charming.
At the end of the day,
ignorant but well intentioned. How does that sound? I think that's most accurate. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, kind of about the outside of this box, and we mentioned this before with some foreign sauces, is that in other countries they play it a little bit more loosey goosey with the nutritional information on the back. So a little bit more limited in the regards here. And we'll get into that a little more deep dive later because there's a little bit of a confusion, and we actually had to take a little bit of a chemistry lesson to actually... We're so fucking dumb, we had to go back to high school chemistry to try to figure out what this fucking sauce was doing to our mouths.
With the help of the official wiki page that is not official at all, right?
Well, close enough. I mean, it's a damn sight far better than I know, so
That's true.
It's good enough, It's good as far as I'm concerned. I mean, at this point too, back in when it was first created, Wikipedia was kind of like, you weren't supposed to reference that. You're supposed to go and find the sources. And at this point, it's like, with all the false news and stuff we're exposed to, Wikipedia is basically canon, like it's canonical. I think it's okay to follow that.
Yeah, they actually do try and police Wikipedia pretty well. I actually remember when I was in middle school, we were encouraged to use Wikipedia and cite it. But my mom, who's currently a middle school librarian, in fact, steers her students away from Wikipedia and says that is not a good enough source.
Well, see, I think that's interesting though, because you went to school before, you were in high school before I was, and I would have thought that they would have been more skeptical of that kind of like free form information, especially with being kind of new and the relative lack of contributions at that time.
All I can guess is my teachers just didn't know. They just thought, Wikipedia, encyclopedia, it must be.
I see.
It must be legit.
They'd learn more about it.
And since then, they've learned more about how open format it is. And yes, it is policed. And yes, they beg for money every year. At least for me, because I donated once to the people who contribute to who helps to police and fact check Wikipedia. And now I get their emails every year when they're doing their.
I hope you learned your lesson.
Please donate to us
they
again.
Got you on the sucker hotline. Well, no. And I think that's part of it, too, is that, I was in that kind of golden period there when, essentially, if you wanted to go on and edit a Wikipedia article, you could do that. I mean, you could go on there and write pretty much whatever you wanted, and there's a good chance it would stay up there for a little while because there's just such less internet presence in those times, especially with, individual articles on Wikipedia, where now I think if you want to make an edit, you have to be kind of like approved, and they also, all edits, I think, are immediately like fact checked, by their people.
before they're allowed to be posted.
Yeah, and so they go through quite the scrubbing there to get out all the nonsense. So I think it's much more reliable now. But the old standby was always that Wikipedia lists all their sources in the footers there. So you just go down there. That was always the trick in like English class for your bibliography. You pull all the information from Wikipedia, and then you just use their sources in your bibliography to cite all those, and then that was kind of like your little trick.
Yeah.
But no, getting back off of that nerdy ass shit. Let's we're gonna dive deep into that a little bit more later. So we'll get off of that for now until you have sunk cost fallacy in this episode, and you're too far. You think we're wrapping up, so you're gonna stick it out. We'll hook you that way. So let's go ahead.
Get excited! Yeah, it's coming.
Dive right into some of our initial tasting notes. Eric, do you want to go ahead and lead us off with this here? Well, actually, first, before I should say that, and there's not a lot to say here, but describe. And most of the bottle is actually covered up from the outside, but describe a little bit like the internal like sauce that we're looking at there.
Sure, it's It looked, even when I bought it, I kept wavering on whether or not to buy it, also because, one, the price was a little high, and two, it looked like bottled honey.
Right.
And
well, what was the price, first of all?
So this was, for what we say, this was 325 grams, cost me $6 US, which...
It was a small bottle. What would you say that is like, I don't know, 10 ounces or something?
Conversion.
9
ounces?
More
than 10 ounces. It's
not
sure? Much.
It's more than 10 ounces.
It's more than that.
8 ounces is a cup.
You're right.
And it's...
I guess you're close to that. I'd say it's probably closer to 10, maybe 12. Maybe a 12-ounce can, but probably not even.
I don't think it's even 12.
I don't even think it's a 12-ounce can either. It's probably closer to 10 ounce.
Yeah, exactly what I said the first time. Thanks.
Is that what you said? Thanks.
Yeah, I said fucking 10 the first time.
I ignore everything you say at first anyways.
Okay. Anyways, you're describing the sauce. Piece of shit.
Yeah, it looked like runny honey, and it has that same amber color. When you hold it up to the light and you get just a little bit of it, it looks extremely like fine coating of honey. And
yes.
And when you like look through the bottom of the jar to the top, it's almost opaque in how dark amber it looks.
Right.
So I wasn't sold on it, that's for sure. No, I picked it up. We wandered around the shop.
You sold on it because they sold you on it. So literally.
I think one of the things that pushed me over the edge was at the register, they had a whole bin of stuff that was free if you made a purchase.
Oh my God.
And I was like, so I can go pick up a free CD.
He got the shakes immediately.
And get a sauce. You know me. Yeah. E and his inability to pass up free.
They're giving out fucking
You got
bookmarks.
like a music CD.
I did.
How was it? Did you listen to it?
I haven't listened to it yet.
Of course. That sounds
with like an
right.
Irish jig type deal.
He doesn't know.
I have it right over here.
Listen to it.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Let me get it.
Alexa, play the shitty CD. What are you going to play it on, homeboy?
On PS4. I don't use it for anything else.
Oh my God. It's not even out of the plastic yet.
It's literally titled Nobody You Know.
Nobody You Know. Well, there you have it. Boy, I can't tell you the last time I seen a compact disc in the cellophane.
I know, it is still sealed up. I'm assuming it was some local artist, and that's why they're giving it away, because they're trying to get their name out there.
Demo, yeah.
Made in Canada, so kind of local. 1997.
Oh,
produced by nobody you know. Yeah.
Wow. So this is literally just some trash pile of CDs they're just giving away.
I was so excited. It sold it on me. I was like, all right, I'll buy the sauce. So I can get this free crappy CD.
You'll have to listen to it. Listen to it. Take it to work. Give them a break from Imagine Dragons. Listen to this.
No, I can't do that.
And then you can report back to us next week in a soft-spoken rewind how it was.
Okay. I think I could do that.
At this point, all the people that made it are probably dead. We could probably just steal their music and use it as theme music.
Yeah, right. And throw it on our Instagram stories.
Right.
1997? God. Come on, guys. Dead.
But anyways, well, I mean, they could have been 60 years old when they recorded this. I mean, I'm not saying that they were, in their 20s. It's not like they're...
It's certainly in the realm of possibility. I won't deny it. But
yeah, I mean, they could have died for any variety of reasons. We just had a fucking pandemic. They could have all gotten corona from recording each other in each other's face.
You have very little faith in nobody you know, or nobody.
I hope they're alive. Right. I hope they're alive. I mean, I'm just saying that, that's a long time. Things happen.
I suppose it was. I hope it's good. I don't know. I'm excited, though, kind of.
Report back to us. Listen to it at work, specifically. Play it for your coworkers.
Their debut self-entitled album, Nobody You Know.
Play it for Tori's wife. She'll enjoy it.
Oh, criminy.
She'll be...
She'll box your ears.
She actually had me look up... Oh, gosh.
She's going to be mad. She's supposed to... We finally got her to agree to come onto the podcast at some later point. She's going to hear this and she's going to fucking back out. She just listened to her first episode the other day and she wouldn't tell us which one it was.
That was
a lie.
Yeah.
She didn't even listen to it?
I was fibbing.
Are you fucking kidding me? I got my hopes up.
I was so excited too. I was like, Amy, you listened to an episode. What'd you listen to? And she started laughing. Joke. It was a mean joke. Well, that could have been on April Fool's.
I think she was serious about coming on though, so.
She is. In fact, she said she already has the salsa purchased.
She went out and bought it.
Yeah. No, but she mentioned she wanted to get the kitchen project wrapped up, but, so maybe we can get her on next week then even, possibly. Yeah. We'll see. Well, stay tuned, listeners. But in the meantime,
break the rule of tens.
Piece of shit.
That has to give you just the itch. Like,
we never decided that was a hard rule. I'd like to have more guests on that. It's just that we can't find people that actually want to be on with us. So, and that fucking being said, tell us about the fucking sauce, Eric. Jesus.
Stay on task.
My taste thoughts on it. I would be happy to. So yes, as we said, we tried this on a waffle and a little bit of vanilla ice cream, and it was phenomenal. Well, for me, I mean, it was. I don't know, maybe phenomenal.
Was it good for you, baby?
Too good of a word.
Was it as good for you as it was for me?
He needs a cigarette now.
I immediately had a lot of questions going into this because I was trying to figure out whether this was honey or not. And I'm like, so I have to admit, I cheated. I looked ahead of time and to try and look at what you've been
expressly forbidden. This is why you're not allowed to have any of the sauces in advance.
I need to know though. I'm serious.
I did know
compelled. Earlier. Control yourself.
I did know earlier research on what the heck inverted refiner's syrup was, but that's what this is. Apparently.
I'm gonna invert your fucking face with my fist.
So, but when it comes down to taste, I was like, boy, this does
taste inverted.
Yeah. Now that you mention it,
I said, I thought this definitely tasted like honey the way it looks. I thought baklava immediately.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And of course, we tried this on ice cream. And the comment was made that maybe this would be good on bacon, and I could immediately think...
Or Spam!
Yes.
Or Spam, for that matter, right?
Did I steal your thunder? Were you going there?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay,
but I was going to say yes, yes to all of them, absolutely. This is an amazing honey-like syrup, but apparently it's not honey. And it's runny, and I wrote down umami sugar with a question mark. Like, I'm trying to figure out exactly, what...
No, you're right on. We discussed this earlier, and I'll finish out your analogy because what I had said earlier was that I think this sauce, this syrup, is to sugar as umami is to salt. If that makes sense to the listeners, umami is kind of like that savoriness, or a lot of times they'll use the MSG to achieve that umami flavor, and I think this is kind of like that, where it's similar to that, but it's maybe a little bit more depth and a little bit less pointed, kind of like table sugar is. So that was kind of my analogy, I guess.
And that's kind of similar to what we ended up actually researching. Tori, because I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts other than, it's sweet and it's honey. What was your tasting thoughts?
Yeah, I think it almost sounds like an SAT test in here between all these analogies and these conversions from metric to imperial.
Right. We didn't do any conversions yet.
All that nerdy shit you guys are talking about with since declensions and shit.
Oh, there's more coming up.
But at any rate, what are we talking about? Tasting notes.
Tasting notes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was mentioned already, but butterscotch was the first thing that just jumped right into my brain. Was a butterscotch. I really have no other way to describe it outside of butterscotch, and I like butterscotch. Honey, most definitely. It certainly had a consistency of honey. It stuck to the spoon. I tried, of course, on a spoon. Tried it on its own. And as you pull the spoon out of your mouth, you get that drag on your lips, right?
Yes.
And with a ketchup or with a mustard, upon pulling it out, you would have a clean spoon.
Right.
This was not the case.
It's weird.
There was a residue left. Yeah.
Sure, that's true.
So that I thought that was interesting. That's certainly not a tasting note. That's more of a texture note. But yeah, I mean, certainly imported. That was the first look. There, duh. That was pretty obvious. But yeah, I mean, butterscotch, I think for me is the overwhelming, dominating not only smell but flavor. And the consistency, the color. I mean, it was very, very butterscotchy, and I feel as if that's a cop-out because I don't have too much more outside of that, but I think that is the best way I can go about describing it.
I think my sniffer's still broken. I know you mentioned butterscotch notes.
Buttercotch.
And I think Adam, I don't know, I'm going to steal your thunder here, but you said it smelled like...
Thunder.
Go ahead.
I'm about to give my tasting notes, but go ahead and tell the listeners what my tasting notes were, Eric, please, by all means.
He said it smelled like bourbon.
I said it smelled like bourbon. The first thing I smelled I thought was bourbon,
and I never got any smell really at all. I kept trying to sniff, and
you didn't get any smell. I squeezed it like into my nostril, like a snooter. I opened it up.
He tilted it back in his head. Like I
got a little spoon out of my drawer, a little tiny spoon, and I put some up in my nose.
Nice.
And
save that for tomorrow night.
Birthday night, birthday party night. But no, like I said, the first thing I got was definitely a smell of kind of what I thought was bourbon. And then I tried some first just on a spoon, just to get a raw taste of it. And then I tried on the waffle, and then followed that up with the ice cream. And I thought it was really like delightful on all three of those. What?
Waffles, ice cream. What was the third?
Spoon.
Plain. Oh, just plain.
For listeners, Eric was giving me a fucking look. He can't count to three. I said spoon, and then I said waffle, and then ice cream. I said it was delightful on all three of those.
Okay.
Apparently the spoon didn't count as an object, but no.
Just put it right on my tongue, dude.
Yeah, and then I squirted some straight into my mouth from the bottle, and I also made a comment that I thought the sauce was so good that I wouldn't even mind going in the bathroom and taking a little golden shower with it because it was so good. But no,
he's gonna mainline it here pretty soon.
Yeah, well, we were talking about that, but no, so I got a lot of the butterscotch that you were talking about as well, and I think that this consistency reminds me most of like pancake syrup, especially not even like a maple syrup, which I think is a little bit thinner even still, but more like the Aunt Jemima stuff. It's got that kind of artificial thickness to it.
Right.
Yeah, sort of film on the side there.
Yeah, and then I definitely got more of like I said, a bourbony taste, a lot of that kind of like butterscotch, almost like smokiness from like a caramel type thing almost as well.
Caramelized, sure.
I got more butterscotch, but it's not it's I think butterscotch traditionally is less translucent than this, and this is pretty clear, of a sauce. I think butterscotch is more traditionally like an opaque type sauce, but
yeah, I think so. And I'm also thinking maybe what was that, brittle, like peanut, like butterscotch brittle, like.
Right, or like a Werther's original or something like
Werther's, that. That's butterscotch too. Absolutely.
Like a toffee, the toffee has that, like the Heath bars, it has a little bit of that smokiness to it, and I think it's pretty much along the lines of that as well. So I actually enjoyed it more than like a pancake syrup, and I think it fills a lot of a similar purpose to that, so I really enjoyed that. I'm a little bit of ashamed to say because as the listeners probably don't know, one of the things I do as a little bit of a hobby is I keep bees. Maybe we did mention that before because I think we had talked about getting some honey, but I am a little bit of an amateur beekeeper, and I will say there is honey straight off the comb is phenomenal, but I mean, this stuff was really good too. I mean, it's really hard to go wrong with this, and there's actually a chemical reason for that. We'll discuss a little bit later here, but I mean, I've been very clear about this. I thought it was really good. All that being said, do you want to go ahead and do your dive into the ingredients, and we'll do a little bit of a discussion on that there, Eric?
A big spoiler here. The dive into the ingredients is going to be real quick. This contains partially inverted refiner's syrup.
Which threw us all for a bit of a loop when we read it, and this was part of what we were discussing earlier about their limited requirements on like nutritional facts and ingredients.
So I actually didn't read the rest of this. After reading the ingredients, I was just so stumped. It actually says best before CCAP recommended date, which, okay, that's nice. But then it says store in a cool, dry place. Well, that's interesting. That almost leads me to think I should maybe put this in the refrigerator instead of leave it out.
No, I think that says that on a lot of stuff. It just is to prevent mold and things like that. I think that's fine how you have it. Probably, knowing what we know about this, I would actually be suspicious you don't even need to refrigerate this even after it's open.
Yeah, I would suspect that too. There's so much sugar in that, nothing's going to touch that.
It's kind of like honey in that, honey is the one of the only foods that really never goes bad. Like they found historical honey back from like the Egyptians, and it was still edible. The only other things I know that are similar to that are kind of like yeast. They've been able to get yeast samplers similarly off of like the Egyptian cultures and stuff, and they've managed to make ancient bread from those as well.
It's awesome and nerdy all at the same time.
But no, we are going to have a little bit of a nerd moment here because Tori's going to have to close his ears and scream quietly in the corner because he's going to hate this. But we are going to do a little bit of since I'm sure the listeners are questioning what partially inverted refiner's syrup is, as we were as well. And we found a little bit of some interesting information. So, going to the old Wikipedia machine, we learned that golden syrup is another name, which is what this is called, which I thought was initially the trade name, but I guess that is actually the type of sauce. There must be others of this type, but they basically come from this inverted sugar syrup, which
is refining sugarcane or sugar beet juice into sugar, or by treatment of a sugar solution with acid.
Right, which we did a little bit of a further deep dive into by going another layer deep on the Wikipedia section and going to check out what the inverted sugar syrup was, which is really where we started getting some answers. And this is where it gets a little bit into chemistry, so we're not going to go too deep on this because I think we're all too stupid to really fully understand what it's saying anyways, but no, what they basically saying is that it's an edible mixture of two simple sugars, glucose and fructose. And basically the way that you make this is kind of like when you're making simple syrup, for those of you that like to do a little amateur bartending. But basically you will take this and heat up sucrose, which is table sugar, with water. And at some point it transforms into these two other sugars here, this glucose and the fructose. And that's why they call it the inverted sugar, because it's actually claimed to be sweeter on the palate, on the tongue, than table sugar, which is kind of what we had learned. And that was kind of what you were describing earlier, Eric, where it's kind of like that. There's more depth to the flavor than there is, that's why I said it's kind of like the umami to salt, almost.
Right. Where I said it's just sweet, but it's sweet and flavorful, and I wasn't sure how they got that flavorful, so I was just like, oh, it's umami sugar.
Well, I do think part of it is, too, that they have kind of like started the caramelization process of this and gotten some of that amber color, which is, I think, where it's getting some of that, like, what I was calling bourbon and smoky flavors from.
Right.
And there may be some other ingredients in this, because another thing that we had learned, too, is that part of what causes this reaction is, like I said, mixing the, essentially, table sugar into water and then heating it, but you can also, it says, speed this reaction up by adding a catalyst such as cream of tartar or lemon juice. So we're speculating that they actually did something like that in this sauce to kind of aid that process.
Which is pretty intriguing. And of course, they're not going to share with the world what they're using, but it works. It works well, and it's worked since, 1883, I think we said? Since
85, yeah.
Or 85.
And I actually want you just to take it all the way home for the nerds that actually understand what this kind of thing means. And I think it'll be most fun if Eric reads this last sentence here.
Okay, so this is the mixture of two simple sugars, and is formed by hydrolysis of sucrose. The mixture's optical rotation is opposite to that of the original sugar, which is why it's called an invert sugar.
Very good.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't even
Well
make
done.
fun of you about that. I was really hoping you were going to slip up, but we did read that earlier, so I'll give you, I guess it was a prepared statement.
You got a little bit of practice.
I'll take the credit away from you,
Thanks.
although I think I'm the one that read it earlier. But no, so that's the, apparently something in the process of mixing this with water and heating it actually kind of flips those elements, and that's where you get this this inverted sugar thing from.
Here we go. I could sound stupid again. I made the comment where I said, like, how do you invert sugar? Do you just reach your hand into a pile of it and pull your hand up out of it and say, "Oh, there you go, it's inverted."
Very good. No, of course they've changed the optical rotation of it, Eric. How
Yeah,
did you
of
not know
course.
that?
Come on, dude. Get with it.
And it proceeds to break this down into, I don't know what,
Some awesome
7 pages
yeah,
of chemical
Oh.
formulas,
chemical formula equations.
stoichiometric expressions and things
Oh,
that
wow.
we have no basis for understanding. So
Nope.
we'll read the little paragraph and that'll be it with that. So no, that's essentially what this is. This is basically
Oh, look at that. There's this history, though. In 1863, Abram Lyle, owner of Copperidge, became the owner of Glebe Sugar Refinery in Greenock in lieu of a debt. He became aware of the fact.
I'm gonna have to shake Tori
Well,
to
that's
wake
just
him up.
interesting.
I
So,
keep
well,
yawning.
I said Abram Lyle. What does it say on the front?
I don't know.
Yeah, Abram Lyle and Sons.
We're losing people
So,
left and right.
the history here of this golden syrup is, well, okay, that's because we're on the golden syrup wiki page. Well, now
Would you like to finish reading the rest of the entire page, Eric?
Nope, we're good.
No, but I think that was kind of a little bit, I thought that was kind of interesting to learn a little bit about this, because this is apparently a totally,
Oh, yeah, I don't look at that.
we just stumbled across another little golden tidbit under the
How about
properties.
that?
Do you want to read that for us there, Tori?
Absolutely. One of the known properties of this delicious syrup sauce that we're having this evening is that it is a Newtonian fluid, which, if you are an avid listener, a loyal listener, you would know that we've covered this before, and that is what's called an oobleck.
No, I think that oobleck is the non-Newtonian fluid.
Non-Newtonian.
Oh, what the
opposite
hell?
Of oobleck.
Oh, damn it.
Ah, piss!
Yeah, see, I'm all goofed up now. So, I don't know what that means.
I think
then.
Newtonian fluids just mean that they follow
it's
gravity.
just normal?
Yeah, normal.
Yeah.
I think it just means it's normal.
It'd be super interesting if we got to try the Sweden or Denmark version, as both of their versions, a light and a dark golden syrup, are beet based.
You can keep that, bro.
No, I think I'd be all about trying that.
Well, I don't think it'd be that much different, because most of the sugar in the United States is actually from beets.
beets.
Yeah, so I think once you've processed it or refined the source of the sugar, I don't really think it matters that much
I
at
suppose
that
that's
point.
true.
But no, so this is kind of interesting, and I'm not sure if we have some sort of equivalent to this in America, or but we had discussed this could be really good in a variety of things, and actually
The closest I think you're going to come to this in America is when you go to the bar and you get some simple syrup in your drink.
No, actually, I can't. I was just thinking about this, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with those little bottles of, I don't know what they are. They're called like Tahani or something like that. The coffee flavoring bottles, the syrup. I don't know what the brand name is on those.
The big bottles with the pumps.
Well,
Yeah, that's
well,
what
yeah.
Tori
I was thinking
has.
the blue.
Yeah,
I was
the
thinking like the
Torani.
yeah, Torani, right? Yeah, whatever those are. They're like a blue label on them, and I think they have like a caramel one, which is, pretty damn close to this, even in consistency and stuff. So I could definitely see this being really good in coffee, or as we mentioned, on like a savory thing, like a ham or a pork product, something
Hot
like
tea.
Oh, hot tea would be real good.
that. Definitely would be good. But no, the one other last little tidbit that we will say about this, and we had talked about the honey, is that the combination of the fructose and glucose is actually evidently a similar combination to that which is found in honey. So I think is kind of what we are, kind of what is responsible for it having that kind of similar, flavor profile. So I think that kind of wraps up. I think anything you would use honey in, I think you could sub this in for, good effect.
No doubt.
And if you want that more like darker umami flavor, it actually does say regular molasses is very similar to your refined sugar for us, Yankees.
I don't think this is at all like molasses. This?
Well,
Molasses is a sugar product. Like they get that from brown sugar, and they take the sugar cane. You know what I mean?
true. Actually, it says, not to be mistaken with regular molasses or dark.
Yeah, I don't think this is at all like molasses. I think molasses is. I think if most people would would think of molasses as being kind of pretty, dark and bitter and thick, whereas much runnier, much thinner,
and much sweeter.
I mean, you could take a spoonful of this and you'd be thrilled, whereas
That's
molasses, I don't know if you guys have ever tried that, but there's a type of molasses that is
sweet, sassy molassie.
So I kind of like molasses. I remember cooking with my mom, and she was like, "Oh, sure, try a bit," and she thought it'd be like funny, like I wouldn't like it, and I was like, "Pretty good to me." Leave it to Adam to prove me wrong about how astringent and horrible molasses can be.
I don't think I've ever tasted molasses on its own.
Straight up
well,
molasses.
what I was going to say earlier is they have this stuff called, I think, blackstrap molasses, which is allegedly has health benefits, but it's even more of a potent to consume, and I think that is one of the ways that they suggest is just taking a spoonful of it every day, and like I said, it's supposed to have some health benefits, but I mean, it is like painful to have to choke that stuff down every day. I used to do this for a while just for funsies. I didn't notice any health benefits, but it is something that people swear by, and I think this is in stark contrast to that.
Wow.
Well, all that being said, Eric, do you want to go ahead and lead us off with your rating of this?
I suppose. Let's see here. I'm kind of torn on it because, one, I don't want to fall into the trap of, every sweet sauce gets, instant praise from us.
I know. I feel like 2 is not quite enough to establish a pattern. Like, I feel like we're going to have to try a third sweet one just to see if we really are that much of sucker. If the podcast format is that broken that all it takes to disrupt us is sugar.
Well, we all said how much we discare for Hershey's syrup, so...
That's true.
I mean, I don't think we're totally broke.
Is discare a word?
Did I say
dislike?
That?
You said discare.
Discare.
I don't care.
My man's making up his own words.
I'm always making up words.
I discare what you say about it. It's fine.
Wow. No, I'm gonna have to come in probably like an 8.5. I'm thinking. I mean, it's damn tasty, and there's a lot of food, sweets, and breads and meats that this could certainly go on. So I'd see a wide universal appeal. They say it's often used by bakers. Like I said, back to my earlier question, baklava. Hell yeah.
Right.
Hell yeah, that'd be good in
Absolutely.
baklava, which is traditionally honey, but I mean, this syrup is just, it's really good.
My initial thing is always thinking about how I can throw this kind of stuff on a cheesecake. So, I mean, I think this would be,
It's a little runny. I don't know how well it's set up on the top of it.
Well, you drizzle it. You're not trying to make like a coating. You just drizzle it over. You know how they do the little decorative drizzles. Sure. So,
yep. I don't know. Maybe I'm too low.
Where'd you land?
8.5. I was being conservative. I don't know.
Wow.
What do you think, Tori?
Well, I mean, there's a big stink about giving sweet sauces a higher rating than their savory counterparts. And so allow me to ask you this and riddle you this, Batman. I think it's important to mention and consider how expensive this chocolate sauce was with this Irish sauce.
Yes.
So if we take a look down and it's sweet, we like it, so on and so forth, but I mean, for those real eggheads out there, you could do cost per point.
Right.
Or,
That's true.
or some ratio therein where $6 for that jar, not to say it's a small jar.
It's small.
But you get what you pay for. I think at the end of the day, no matter what it is, I think you get what you pay for.
What was that chocolate sauce? Was that like $8?
Yeah, that was high. Pretty pricey. And it was a similarly small jar to this, I think.
That's true. That's true.
So I think if we were to take a look at that before we start jumping to, crazy conclusions, sweet sauces are good. I mean, let's call it, a spade is a spade here, and sweet sauces are good. I got a sweet tooth. I got a whole mouthful of them. So, I mean, I can certainly understand that. So before we go too crazy on, banishing sweet sauces from this soft-spoken realm, also known as the Nerd Palace, maybe we should consider that. Consider what was preceding there. But I liked it a whole lot too. There was mention of a comparative. I think a good comparison to this, the most American thing you could probably ask for would be a Hershey's butterscotch syrup. And I would be interested to try one side by side. Maybe on the same bowl of vanilla ice cream.
That'd be wild. I'd be up for that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just to give it a spin, just to see. But with all that being said, at the end of the day, I liked it. I didn't have too much to say about it, but hell, I liked it. 9.
Wow.
Okay. I have to admit, I think if we had this side by side with the butterscotch, I would probably go with the butterscotch.
The regular Hershey's.
Yep. I would go with that just because it has more of a flavor profile where this is just sweet. Whereas the butterscotch has something more
See,
to
I
it.
disagree. I mean, I was getting a lot of, I wasn't getting a lot of like that intentional complexity like we got out of the chocolate sauce. They had clearly woven in some other distinct flavors where I think the flavor in this, unless they are some other secret ingredients they're not telling us about, the flavor is coming from the process. I don't really think they're putting a whole lot of engineering into this, which is going to be one of my little bit of a critique. That being said, I was pretty clear about liking the sauce quite a bit. Initially, I really wanted to go ahead and, once again, I was kind of caught in between an 8 and a 9. Eric, you said 8.5. Tori, you said 9, and I was leaning more towards a 9 initially, but I still don't quite feel like it's worthy of a 9 just because, like I said, to me, this is just something you follow the basic process for, and once you have the process, a monkey could do it. It didn't take some engineer to come up with this flavor profile. I don't think. I could be totally wrong about that.
Man, it's been around since 1885. If monkeys could do it, they would be.
Well, and that's what, and here's the thing. I am going to factor cost in this a little bit too, because like you had said, my main complaint about this is that the bottle's small. I want one of those like Aunt Jemima sized bottles of this, and I don't think it's that hard to do. Really, the way it's described is you take some fucking table sugar and you put it in some water and heat that shit up. Like, maybe there's some secret ingredients, but I'm thinking like, man, they know what they want for this stuff with $6 for this bottle, which is pretty small. I don't think it's that hard. I mean, it's good. It's very good. I like it better than the Aunt Jemima's, quote unquote, flavored high fructose corn syrup. But is this really anything that crazy? That being said, I did enjoy the hell out of it, and for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8.75. I'm going to come right in between you guys. I think that's fair.
Cut the difference. Fair enough.
And that way I'm, keeping my morals. I'm not going up to a 9.
And you brought up an interesting point there, because they mentioned these various acids, cream of tartar, lemon juice, things like that, these catalysts. And, even if they do use some goofball catalyst, procured from the rainforest, even on Wikipedia, it said it doesn't even change the flavor that much.
Right.
So,
True.
I mean, in my very extensive chemistry knowledge, I always understood a catalyst to be the thing that speeds up the reaction in one form or another, yeah?
Yes.
See? Fucking genius. But I usually don't cuss like that. Excuse me. It's my birthday. I'm allowed one. But,
he's allowed. I make up for him.
But, yeah.
Normally.
But yeah, that was my only point that, no matter, judging from this, cream of tartar, lemon juice, it really doesn't impact the flavor. So for them to use some proprietary acids, I think would almost be silly.
I do wonder if there's a certain motion involved in this. And is it folded upon itself? Folding? Is there a folding motion?
He's moving his hand in a circle for the listeners.
Because, there was a rotational comment.
No,
you're too hung up on that word inverted.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with that. I think they're talking about the molecular structure was inverted, not they spun it the opposite way.
You're thinking like in a taffy sense, like a saltwater taffy.
Saltwater taffies, or your
I would be more
else like that.
I mean, obviously, we looked on their website, which is another thing I want to dive into here in a minute. But they're they don't have a recipe list. They don't want to put it on the website. They don't want to put it on the back of the bottle. I do feel like there must be more in this than just sugar. If you guys want to prove me wrong, want to send me your secret ingredient list, I will adjudicate it based on that, and I'll bump you up that extra quarter of a point to a 9.
Totally worth it.
But, I mean, it's worth it for them, because what other higher prestige are they going to get than I've never heard of this shit before. So, I mean, if anything, we're going to be reaching a lot of listeners that have never heard this before. Lyles, if you'd like to reach out to us, and give us a little insight, I will sign an NDA if I have to, but I would really like to know if I need to bump this up to a 9, because I'm just not seeing that much going into it.
1883, there's certainly some market that's been keeping them alive.
Right. And I'm thinking it's the hot tea, man.
Well, I'm thinking the original recipe probably didn't have the microplastics, but they're not listing that on the ingredients either. So
wow.
No, that's right. How was this?
Hands.
This was with mercury in tins, or heavy lead tins.
Well, that is another interesting point I wanted to bring up. Is that on the website they have a variety of other bottle and container shapes, which this is not one of them though. This was not one they had listed on the website.
They actually got some good food shots on their website, though. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they do sell it in a tin, as well as the 2 bottles that we saw, and also a dome-shaped, looks like inverted, what they're calling a breakfast bottle. I'm not sure how that is different than a regular bottle, but it seems to be like a dome-shaped inverted type bottle, but
Yeah.
I'm most intrigued by the tin.
That is interesting. You would
I think
almost feel compelled to use the whole thing once you opened it. Or at least I would.
In the tin?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that is a little weird, and it looks like a smaller container. I don't know if that has something to do with it or not, but
I don't know.
Oh,
man.
it is. It's only 45 grams, it says.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's real tiny.
That's
Right?
not 454?
Oh, it is 454. My bad. 454 grams.
and a 970 grams.
What's with the E? I'd like it. Just
You know
says
what? I
E.
think this. If you look on the top there,
What is
Tori.
with the E?
I don't know.
I don't know what is with the E in this podcast. If you look on the top there, I think it's actually like a paint can lid. I think you just pry it off and pop her back on. I don't
Ain't
think you
that
have to
something?
puncture it. That is kind of interesting. I mean, I would think that would be a real. I mean, ever having work in paint in Home Depot, I can imagine this lid being sealed with syrup being an absolute fucking bitch to get off of this
Oh,
thing.
and then to get back on.
Oh my god,
yeah.
you're splattering this shit all over as you hammer it around your kitchen, just launching its stickiness. And that was one thing I hate
It's sticky.
is having sticky stuff on my hands. As soon as we got done eating this, I had to get up and wash my hands because
Yep.
I knew I could never make it through a recording with my stickiness on my hands.
Oh,
Yep,
that's
same
funny.
here.
So the idea of hammering that around my kitchen is an absolute nightmare.
Just leave your mouth open. Hang your tongue out.
But I see getting it out of that tin being. Did you guys ever grow up with a honey pot with the actual honey?
Honeycomb? No.
The honey stirring.
The honeycomb.
The
little
ball at the end with like the.
Yeah, the little. Don't they call that a? I mean, a honeycomb is obviously the things the bee do.
Right.
A honeypot is a hot Russian spy.
Right.
Never heard that
honey
one
brush.
before.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't?
No.
Okay.
Is it a Bond thing?
Well, kind of.
Maybe.
Yes, but I mean, it's just a
Anyways.
general term. I mean, honeypot is any time you use like female sexuality or male sexuality, if the case may be, to entice someone. Call
Huh.
that a honeypot. You catch more flies with honey.
Never heard that one. Huh?
I've heard they'll catch more flies with honey. Anyways, but no, that I don't know what they actually call that. Maybe they do call it a honeycomb, but that little I just see this working well with that little tool. Hard stance here. Adam's saying it is a honeycomb.
Oh, yeah, that little wood thing?
Yeah, the little wood thing.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what the hell that called. Amy's got one of them. A honey dipper. You know what else is a honey dipper? Oh, boy.
Go ahead. What is it?
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah.
So,
Is it a sex move?
no, it's actually far more grotesque.
Oh my.
Oh,
Yeah, a honey.
okay.
I almost feeling bad. A honey dipper is a profession that cleans out porta-johns.
Wow.
That's real, yeah.
Alrighty. I
Yeah,
did not know
or
that.
even back in the day, they were like outhouses.
Oh, okay.
That
Yeah.
was
Honey
a
dipper.
honey dipper.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nasty.
What a job.
Oh
huh?
yeah, it even says it right here. It says a term of disparagement for the workers who clean empty septic tanks,
Yeah.
clean latrines, and do similar work. Honey dipper.
A honey dipper.
I learned something today. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's apparently what this thing is called, a honey dipper.
So it's not a honeycomb. Disproved.
Oh, so it's not a honeycomb.
Ooh,
Oh, I
put
was
that in
right
the
about
show
one
notes.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it does look like a little comb. I was trying to look and see if there's some other names for these things.
I thought the comb was them hexagons.
Well, yeah, I mean, the comb is what they put the honey in, what the bees put it in. But I
Oh.
always thought this was like, I thought that was like a cutesy little thing to call it a comb because, you know, obviously I was fucking wrong. Thanks, Eric. He's so fucking proud of himself.
Well, since you're wrong, AP, you go on honey dipper duty this week.
Oh, boy.
But I certainly think that would be an adequate tool for getting this syrup out of a jar or a tin and onto some delicious food.
Yeah, the tin blows my mind. That's a little too turn of the century for me. But yeah, I mean the sauce inside, if it's anything like this, is dynamite.
A honeycomb shaped dipper just to make Adam happy.
Now you're blowing my mind.
He's just trying to prove himself so
But no,
hard.
they let's get off of something that I was wrong about. Let's go back to something else and talk about their sauces a little more.
You want to talk more about honey dippers, don't you?
Yeah, because
The profession.
But you're right. Yeah, by all means. They do have some other sauces on here which are kind of interesting, so I wanted to kind of mention those as well. They have they obviously the aforementioned golden syrup that we've tried, and then they also have a black treacle, which I believe is how it's pronounced, or treacle, or is it? I think it's treacle, right? We'll look it up.
Triacle.
Sounds right.
Hell, I don't know.
Or treacle. I don't know. They have a strawberry syrup, a chocolate syrup, an actual butterscotch, and then also as well as a maple.
Damn, I bet all those are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, judging off of this, I could definitely say, and I like the jars, the cylindrical jars they have better on here than your curvaceous one. I actually don't like the curvaceous one. That to me, that little Art Nouveau design, it's not doing it for me. I like the old school classic. I personally, I really find the tins charming.
I think the tin's cool, yeah.
It sounds like a nightmare. I'd have to do it in my sink to close it. But it looks charming as all hell, I think. And I really would be curious to try this black treacle one to see what that's about. I don't know what treacle is. I'm not going to look it up for this episode. Maybe we'll order a tin of this and see how that goes.
Oh, wow.
That'd be super cool.
So just to clarify, what is in this bottle in front of us is not considered a dessert sauce as per the website.
Oh, no, it is. It's dessert sauce.
Oh, it is the dessert.
It's the exact same one here as this one in the tin, but this is just the curvaceous bottle, which they don't list on the website because they're ashamed of the design. What
threw me is the strawberry and chocolate one you mentioned. They went out of their way to say dessert toppings.
Yes. Now, this does say dessert on it as well. Yeah, just a little bit not quite as forward as it is there.
They're lacking a lot of clarity. I might not knock off 1/4 of a point for their website clarity. I see dessert. Yes, I know. E.
Piece of shit. Call him piece of shit, Tori. You're allowed to swear for him.
I know.
Yeah, it seems like all their they have quite a list of recipes on the website. I'm not going to read them all off, but it's kind of mostly your traditional things that you would think of.
Definitely what you would expect. Savory dishes might be worth a click.
That was the one thing I was interested in looking at. Oh wow, they've got quite the ensemble here. Well, they've got some salad dressing recipes, a sausage sarnie, which looks like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with hot dogs on it.
Oh, it looks good to me.
What's a sarnie? That's like a sandwich?
I have no fucking clue. This is some British thing, I'm sure. Maybe our friend Allie can fill us in what a sarnie is.
Yeah,
but we'll have to give him we'll have to ask him and see. A sweet potato, pepper, and halloumi skewers. Yeah, they got all kinds of words I don't know on this.
Yeah, I never heard any of this stuff.
Wow, this was a good pick, Eric. I'll give you that.
Yeah, this is pretty cool, man.
Yeah, not something I have any knowledge of, so this is new.
One thing that I do, it doesn't sound right to me. I'm sure it is, but it doesn't sound right. Did they have the world record for the longest branding?
Oh, they do. That's right. That's what it said on Wikipedia.
Yeah. I'm certainly not that smart, and I'm not up to date with Guinness and their comings and goings. But yeah, so that was pulled off a week. But that doesn't sound right to me. Like, and I'm just off the top of my head, I'm thinking like, I don't know, Worcestershire sauce. I mean, that was,
well, maybe
like A1
like
sauce.
Liam Perrins is the brand. Maybe this is one of those deals where it's like they're using their specific wording of that sentence to be true. Where I think Guinness is famous for that. Also, I want to give a little shout out to Guinness for St. Patrick's Day. Whoop, whoop.
Oh yeah.
We'll make a tie around back to that again. But I think they have a habit of just kind of coming up with arbitrary differences between their world records because they're in the business of creating these world records.
Right.
So.
I mean, what jumped into my mind was Jack Daniels. And it seems like they've been around for forever and ever and ever. What year are they saying for this?
1885.
Yeah.
So that's actually pretty recent.
Yeah, that's not like for it to hold a world record. That doesn't sound. I'm sure there's technicalities and weird shit. I'm certainly not going to question Guinness.
Right.
That's how they say.
Yeah, it's Guinness.
Okay, it's not like it is like the beer then.
It is.
It is actually from the beer. Actually, Guinness. This is a fun fact I know without having to look it up. Is that Guinness? Do you know this as well, Eric?
I have heard it. Yeah, I don't know it off the top of my head like you.
Guinness Brewery actually created the Guinness Book of World Records to settle bar disputes.
Ah, that's right.
In their bars.
Wow.
Yeah, that was actually like because back before people had Wikipedia, like we mentioned in this episode, you would just get in drunken bar fights over facts like this. And so they created this book to settle bar disputes. So it is actually one and the same company. And I think actually they have a separate branch now, obviously, because that's become kind of its own thing. But yeah, originally, same company.
I'll be darned.
And I don't know.
We're learning all types of stuff.
But no, another fun fact. I don't know if we mentioned this before, but are you guys familiar with the Michelin stars?
Yeah.
The rating system for restaurants?
Yeah.
You were familiar with how that came about?
No.
That was actually, Michelin Tire Company. And they created that rating system so they could rank restaurants that were worth traveling to and therefore using more of their tires. So they started awarding these stars, and that was how they'd get you to travel and use their tires to go to another restaurant.
Wowee.
Yeah, so that was, back in the day, companies used to do a lot of that, like, cross-marketing type stuff. And nowadays, companies just, like we mentioned before with, Nestle, they just buy other companies.
Yeah,
and that's how they do it. There's no creativity at all. They just buy whatever company they want to be, in that horizontal growth set of. So
Very true.
But,
Movie reference towards the Michelin stars would be The 100-Foot Journey with Helen Mirren.
Oh.
Very good movie.
Okay. Interesting. Well, with that being said, with all those notes and all those, this was a very fact-heavy episode.
Yeah,
we
this
got
was
really
a good
in
one.
Depth. Normally we try to keep it a little lighter than this. We probably bored half our listeners, but of our extensive listener base already, thank you, those who do listen to us. You are a blessing to us.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate it. But no,
and let us know if you've ever tried this sauce or heard of this sauce, because like I said, it's totally unknown to all three of us.
I have to imagine this is a bigger thing in UK, but I don't know why. This seems like something that would appeal to the American market.
Can't imagine. There's enough tea drinkers here in the States.
To me, I think if you got a whole family together and you're having pancakes or something, want to use this bottle will be gone in one serving.
See ya. Yeah.
That's the only downside, I would think. You'd have to be getting the 907 gram tin or whatever.
Yeah, right.
You have to
forklift it in.
Take it down to your local Home Depot and have them spin it up in their paint spinners and then pour it out. But no, I think that's going to pretty much do it this week for us here with Lyle's Squeezy Syrup Dessert Golden Syrup. With that being said, Eric, do you have any closing thoughts for this Tori's birthday, St. Patrick's Day, and releasing on April Fool's Day episode?
Boy, there's just a lot to celebrate, isn't there? Yeah, life is good, and golden seems to be a ringer for me. I really like the Sweet Baby Ray's Golden Barbecue, and I like the sweet golden syrup, so maybe I have some gold coming in my future. That'd be nice. How about you, Tori?
You're the golden boy.
Oh, well. Ooh, if you ask my siblings, they might just say that.
Golden funny boy.
There you go.
Tori, how do you want to sign off?
Sure. Well, yeah. Allow me to just say, first and foremost, I'm delighted that you went to this Irish store, got this terrific music record, and happened to get a jar of sauce on the way out. So big ups to you, my man. Well done. But I just want to share something here with you real quick. I read it the other day, and it shook me, and I haven't been able to shake it since. So I'm going to talk briefly about gratitude. And I just want imagine, if you will, if you woke up tomorrow with the only thing that you had is what you gave thanks for, what you were grateful for today. Crazy. That blew my mind, and I cannot get it out of my brain. So allow me to take this moment to do exactly what you just did, Adam, and show my gratitude and my appreciation for those listeners out there. Thank you for listening. We are, 20 some odd episodes in at this point. So, boy, if you've been there since the beginning and you're still hanging on there, thank you. A great, great deal. And, of course, thank you for listening.
Absolutely. That's why we keep coming back here to do this. It's certainly not just because we like coming here to suckle down these sweet sauces and we have nothing better to do on a Thursday night, as we had mentioned earlier. We do, we do get a lot of fulfillment out of doing this for you guys, and we hope you guys enjoy it too, and we certainly appreciate you. So, all that being said, that'll do it for us this week. Have a happy past St. Patrick's Day and a happy past Tori's birthday, and hope you enjoy the rest of your April Fool's Day.
I hope you got some good pranks in. Yeah.
I hope someone got to prank you, and I hope you got to prank someone else. And we'll catch you next time. Have a good night.
Oh, bad news is we're at the end of the show here. But hey, the good news is that we have several other episodes that keep you entertained. And while you're at it, send us an email, saucespoken@gmail.com. If you've had enough of listening to us and like to see us, you can do that too. You can stop over on our Instagram page. It's Sauce Spoken Official. If you wish to get down into the nitty-gritty, we welcome you to do so, and you could probably do that on the website. That's going to be saucespoken.wordpress.com. We have some show notes there. We keep track of the various ratings we give them over the episodes there, so if you wish to dig into the details, that's a great place to do it. In the event some unthinkable calamity, your favorite listening provider is not available, you can fire us up on YouTube. And of course, we'll be out here rattling our empty mayonnaise and mustard jars. If you'd like to donate to us, you certainly can. We are at PayPal at Sauce Spoken. We'll give you a little jingle jangle, maybe a wink and a smile on your way out.
Keep in mind, we have stickers available for you. Slap them any which where you like, but they're available to you. If you'd like one, let us know. We'd be happy to send you one. And finally, we have a proprietary cryptocurrency out here. It's what's called Sauce Stoken. We have some details on it on the website. As we close here today, of course, we're going to ask you, please share us with a family member, share us with a friend. Hey, if you're enjoying it, I'm certain they would too. If you could, follow us, give us a rating or a review on that listening platform of your choice. Thank you for listening, and this is Sauce Spoken.